Welcome, welcome. This is the week 4 preview of the Amateur Hour. Week 4 NFL preview with Dave and John. Thanks for coming on tonight, David.
Hey, my pleasure. Yeah, we didn't it's just us two tonight. The winner of this week's Pick'em League, or this past week's, I guess, Pick'em League, is back-to-back champion now, Bill McDowell. He's out there saving lives, working in the ER, so he couldn't make it on the show tonight, but had to give him a shout out for his win. Back-to-back wins is very impressive. Congrats, Bill.
Yeah, that's hard to do because you have like a 4% chance of winning every week.
Yeah.
And I suppose he is an MD, he's a doctor. So you got to think the intelligence is a little higher than pharmacists, and there's a lot of pharmacists.
Yeah, but I think like a master's in statistics or something would put you at a higher probability versus an MD. That doesn't make him smarter about football, but clearly it's working.
He's got something figured out.
I
So
don't
yeah,
know what
second.
I don't know what Evan Kochever does for a living, but that guy's killing it this year too. Back to back second place finishes off the
Yeah,
tiebreakers both weeks, right?
right. Just getting screwed on the tiebreakers. Bill has been money on the tiebreakers.
Yeah,
So good on Bill. Evan is something in business. So
yeah.
jumper great.
Evan got the shaft because last week Bill goes over and wins with the over, and then Evan says, "I'm never letting that happen to me again." He goes over, and then it hits the under. So man, Bill's just got Evan's number.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I have nobody's number. We're dead last
Yeah,
right now in the rankings. So
yeah. But we're kind of like Joe Burrow and the Bengals. We're starting out slow, but
do you
we have
think
to play an
anybody
extra game, one more game than Joe Burrow does.
do you think anybody would find this podcast entertaining if both of us were at the top? Because I don't think so. Nobody wants to hear us brag. They want to see us in our sorrows.
Yeah, I don't think people find it entertaining anyways. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably true. That's a good point. But for those of you that stick around and listen, I doubt you would like it if we were winners.
yeah, no, I think it's good for the league morale to just see the two guys hosting the podcast at the bottom because it's quite obvious we have no idea what we're talking about. Because I am
Yeah.
trying to win. I'm not trying to
No, no
get
shit. I'm
six
trying to
right
make
every
money.
week.
Yeah. I mean, this is my secondary source of income. And right now I've just
Yeah.
been negative in the red. So I'm down $30 on the year. We got to get some green. We got to get in the green at some point
Yeah.
here.
I was at the grocery store tonight and you've been grocery shopping. Normally people don't really talk to you when you grocery shop or like try to make conversation. And this guy commented on my shoes. I'm like, oh, what a nice guy. He's just likes my shoes. And then he starts talking about passive income and how he's shooting to retire in the next 5 years, and he's
Oh yeah,
been lucky.
he was suckering you, dude.
He was, yeah. And so I just kept saying, "Wow, man, I'm so happy for you," like because I'm not really interested. But what I should have told him if I would have thought about it is, "Oh, don't worry, I got a passive income. I got a really popular podcast."
Yeah, we got
But I
this
didn't think
crazy
of it.
podcast that's gonna blow up in just a matter of time. So right now, sure, we're only at like 10 views an episode, but it's only a matter of time. So this thing takes off.
Oh boy, we won't quit. We're not going to quit till we get
No,
get
I'm not
to
quitting.
50 views an
Yeah,
episode, man.
yeah, 50 is what we're targeting for this year at least. But that's funny because that same thing happened to me in an Iowa City Hy-Vee. So some guy just told me my outfit looked awesome, and then he just suckered me into telling me about his passive income and
Yeah.
his mentors and wanted me to just go into his Ponzi scheme.
But you are the passive income. You buying in is the passive income.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying to sucker me in. So
So
I'd just
as
be losing more money.
as soon as I hear the words passive income, I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm
because you're the
checked out.
sucker.
Like if
You're
you
the
would have said,
bottom of that
"Hey,
pyramid scheme.
yeah, this guy at the grocery store, he's got to play the long game. He's got to take me out for a few beers, multiple nights, and then drop it on me." Like when we're 2 months into the friendship, not the first time meeting you, right?
I guess getting pyramid schemed is better than being like Jeffrey Dahmer or something. Maybe if he was hitting on
Yeah.
you and then next thing you know you're drugged and dead, I'd much rather be pyramid schemed.
Yeah, you wake up naked, face down on the mattress without any sheets.
Yeah, you say, Bobby, what happened, man? I thought we were friends.
How
I
are your
thought
buddies, dude?
I thought I was gonna join you and your mentor and make millions.
I thought we were gonna, yeah, I thought we were gonna make it passive together.
He said, no, I just thought you had a sweet ass.
Yeah. So you're right. I'd rather get pyramid schemed. That does
Yeah.
sound a lot better.
Yeah. See, now it doesn't sound so bad. Now you're gonna talk to that guy next time.
Yeah, yeah, I'll hit him up. Um, what interesting though, his wife was doing the same thing. So that she talked to me first in the soda aisle, and then when I went to the pasta aisle, this guy was there. And it all started adding up to me that they were working together.
Well, yeah, I think most sexual assaults are couples that work together, so that doesn't surprise me. The woman lures you in, and then the man just either robs you or takes advantage of you.
That is so not true, dude.
Look at the data, dude.
Okay. All right. What can
What was
we?
your what was your surprise game of last week? Can you give me a surprise? What shocked Mr. Opine? I'm sure most of the board because you finished dead last, but give me one.
Yeah, it was all surprising. I haven't even gotten 50% yet this week. There were a lot. There were a lot. Not the Bears game, unfortunately. That was not shocking.
I didn't surprise
Um,
anybody, I don't think.
no, but I will go with the more surprising to me was the Cardinals beating the Cowboys
Yeah,
handily, and they ran the shit out of the ball on them.
big
I
time
think
surprise.
I think running, what did they have? Rushing yards, they had 222 rushing yards. You look at the total yards, it's pretty break even, but I didn't get to watch that game, but I have no idea what happened. What?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Cowboys offense just couldn't get anything going. I wasn't like watching like focused on that one mainly because it was an afternoon game, I think, with the Bears. So I did quad box in the morning with 4 games going on. I would switch back and forth between a couple different quad boxes, and then afternoon game I mainly just had the Bears game on. But every time it showed the game, it looked like Dak was just throwing picks, or the Cardinals were scoring on them when the Cowboys have a really good defense, I thought. So I was pretty surprised by that.
Yeah, it was and like Joshua Dobbs, by all accounts, is playing fairly well.
Yeah, he is. I mean, look at him run there. He's just sprinting down the sideline. Oh my
I
gosh.
mean,
Yeah,
what
look at
is
that.
going
Nobody
on?
can stop him. He's like a stretched out Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
incredible.
yeah, for podcast fans, we're playing the replays. Josh Dobbs is like how old? Like 28, and he's
Yeah,
like,
he's he's an NFL journeyman, but if you can put up a couple games in a row where you perform well, you can get yourself a backup quarterback position or, a plug and play quarterback position for the rest of your career.
yeah, Geno Smith. I know he was drafted high, came into the league with a lot of hype, kind of fizzled out, but a great story nonetheless. But yeah, I mean, I would love to see Joshua Dobbs start on a team. I would rather have Joshua Dobbs than Zach Wilson if I'm a Jets fan, personally.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys I'd rather have than Zach Wilson, probably, if I was a Jets fan.
Yeah,
What do you
dude,
think? Would you rather have Colin Kaepernick? I want to get your take on Colin Kaepernick.
absolutely. I think he got blackballed.
Well, he's been out of the league for 7 years, so whether he got blackballed or not, I think it's too little, too late for Colin Kaepernick.
I think at this point, I would rather have him, Tom Brady, who's 45. I just think Zach Wilson, like
Yeah, I'd
they,
rather have Tom Brady. He just played last season. He's not too
yeah.
far removed.
No, I'd still rather have Kaepernick.
I don't know. I think the Kaepernick thing, I think you're just thinking about that year in the playoffs when he just torched the Packers,
He
and
torched everyone, dude. They
he's
that 40.
nobody near what he was at that time, though, John. That was 7 years ago. Imagine you 7 years ago.
How old is he?
I don't know. He's got to be like 34, which isn't that old. But if you haven't been playing NFL competitive football, 35. Why
Yeah.
doesn't he play? Why doesn't he do like the XFL or things like that?
Yeah.
Like the AAF, USFL, show people that you can still play. If he goes into those leagues and balls out, he'll get a spot. But I'll tell you what, he's afraid to do that because he's afraid to get embarrassed and then everyone will stop talking about him. But if you leave this mystery up to guys like you, then they're always going to have in their mind that Colin Kaepernick could be plugged into any offense and do okay.
But you have to agree, like he could have been a backup, and all of a sudden he was just out of the league.
I'm not disagreeing with like the blackball thing or like the fact that like back when he was playing in the NFL actively, he was better than most of backups and a lot of starters probably. But now I'm saying I think we need to stop talking about him as a
Yeah.
potential
Okay.
option.
Yeah. I guess that's fair. Yeah. Because like, look how bad Deshaun Watson was after 3 years away from football.
Yeah, it wasn't even 3 years; it was like a year,
Yeah.
maybe two.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. I guess I wouldn't. But could it get much worse? Right at this point?
No, it doesn't. Like that's the thing. Like, sure, bring him in for a tryout. That's what I don't really understand is like, I mean, it can't get much worse. So if you really want to just silence him, just bring him in for a tryout. And if he does well, then you got a good serviceable quarterback and you already have a really good defense and good skill players. So maybe it'll work out well. But so that's the thing where I kind of agree with you that he's getting blackballed is it would bring too much like negative attention to a team. So they're not even going to bring him in. But I think the idea of him like coming in and doing well is kind of unrealistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you
I
think they
just
reached
don't.
out to Tom Brady at all or no?
Yes. I bet they did.
And he said no.
I would assume.
Yeah.
Um, I would have been a great story. I don't know. People would have tuned in. I do feel like the NFL fans and football fans in general got screwed because Rodgers got hurt because that was like the number one storyline of the season.
Yeah, I hate Aaron Rodgers, but I was actually super excited to see him on the Jets,
Same.
and I was
Yeah.
hoping that he would do really well just to like make Packer fans angry. So when he tore his Achilles like 4 plays into the season, that was pretty devastating.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but looks like a great trade by the Packers, I gotta say. As soon as
Yeah, but
when that Achilles snapped and that calf rolled up, I said, "Ooh, what a trade."
yeah, I mean it's good for the Packers in that sense, just because they got at least something out of him, and he was not wanting to play in Green Bay anymore. He was probably going to retire if they didn't get rid of him. But
Yeah.
it sucks for the Packers fans as well, and for the organization because they're going to get a first round pick if he played like 65% of snaps, and now that he won't be, it turned into a second round pick. So that kind of sucks.
And we're paying his salary this year while he sits on his ass.
Yeah, that also
And
sucks.
he reportedly, I don't know if you saw this, he was talking about there's research that the sonar location that dolphins make when they're making love is shown to heal the body quicker. So he was going to give that a try. And I'm not making that up.
He was going to go hump Dolphins, or he was going to let them hump around him.
Hump around him and he would just enjoy the frequencies and they would help him heal.
Does that count as a threesome?
Allegedly. I don't know. It sounds like bestiality, really close to me.
Yeah, yeah. So people got to start questioning that. That puts up a red flag for me for sure. But
That's wild. I mean, it doesn't surprise me though. He's into crazy shit.
I've seen those
Um,
videos of people like in Florida, messing around in the pools with the dolphins, and they can hump. Those dolphins can hump. They get horny. So it wouldn't
hmm.
surprise me if Aaron Rodgers is trying to sleep with them.
Oh, I didn't know that. What was your surprise game of the week?
I had two that I want to rattle off quickly, but the first one was the
No,
Texans versus the
no,
Jaguars.
I said game of the week, not games.
Okay, games of the week. So that surprised me. The Texans was the first one, plus 9.5 on the road at Jacksonville, and they won 37-17. Can you believe that? It blew my mind. Rookie quarterback CJ Stroud, a lot of young skill players for the Texans, new head coach Miko Ryans. They're trying to turn this program around. Not program, that's more college, but trying to turn this organization around. And sure enough, they spanked the Jaguars in Jacksonville. So that shocked me. It makes me question where I need to go with the Jaguars from here on out.
Yeah, I just have to say quick. I want to give myself a little pat on the back. I thought of the rookie quarterbacks coming in, the one that was most ready for the NFL was CJ Stroud.
Yeah,
Just
I
because
agree.
apparently all the stat guys were said he was one of the most accurate quarterbacks in college football at hitting the intermediate routes. But then there was a lot of backlash because he did bad on that reaction test
Yeah, the reaction test.
that Brock Purdy allegedly did very good on. So then he kind of people weren't so hot on him, but I think they got a good one. I mean, you can see from some of these highlights here, he's hitting these guys deep, or he's at least putting it where they can get to it. So and I think he doesn't have an interception yet.
Yeah, and he's decently sized. Like I going into the season, if I was like pretty even on CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, like I would definitely lean towards the guy that's like I always thought CJ Stroud was pretty small, but I think he's like 6'1" or maybe even six
Yeah.
two. Like I was, and then Bryce Young is like 5'8", maybe on a good day. Is like Bryce Young looks tiny out there, and he's already injured. So it's like CJ Stroud to me felt like the clear pick as well. But what are you gonna do? I hope the Panthers are really bad so that the Bears get a high pick.
All right. All right. What was your second game?
I'll just say the game. I don't have to go into depth about it, but the Ravens were minus 7.5 at home against the Indianapolis Colts
Oh
without
yeah.
Anthony Richardson.
Gardner Minshew.
Gardner Minshew led the team, and they ended up winning outright 22-19.
In overtime
So
though. In overtime.
in overtime. So that shocked me. I was not prepared for that.
Yeah, that was Minshew magic, baby.
Yeah, I guess so. That's for Mike Leach. Rest in peace.
Um, can you recap how did we do on our studs of the week and our
Yeah, of
locks?
course. Do you want to do locks or studs?
Let's do locks while we're at talking about
Okay.
teams.
So week 3, I had the Packers minus 2.5 versus New Orleans. It was absolute worst case scenario for me. The Packers won, but they didn't cover. So that did not count for me. And then you had the Rams plus 2.5 at Cincinnati. They lost by 3. So that didn't hit.
Yep.
And then poor Bill had Titans plus 3.5 at Cleveland, and Titans got their clocks cleaned. So he didn't hit either. We went 0 for 3 as a podcast in episode 3. Brings my record to 2-1 in the season, you to 1-2, and the guest to 0-2.
That feels right. Kind of like how my pick'em is going, but did want to say a little shout out to the masseuse lover, Deshaun Watson. He did look pretty good that game. I saw some highlights and
Yeah.
he was hitting them in stride. So the Browns may not be, and I don't really necessarily like Deshaun Watson. I don't really care about him either way, but it's another franchise where if they succeed, you feel good for the fan base.
Yeah, he might be getting his juju back, which would be dangerous for all the other teams because they already have a pretty good run game. Even though they lost Nick Chubb, they seem like they can plug and play any running back and be fine. They re-signed Kareem Hunt, so he'll be in there and be, a great running back for them. And then they got a couple good receivers. Amari Cooper is still playing well, even though he's kind of aging. Uh, my my stud of the week was Elijah Moore. He ended up getting 7.3 points, so not a great week out of him, but a
No, he
decent
had
week.
he had I think in my PPR league he had 12 points.
Oh,
He had a lot of targets. I mean, it easily could have gone that way. So it wasn't I won't count it as a win, but it was not a bad. It could have
oh,
happened.
well, I thought I got those stats from my PPR league, so I'll have to double check that. But I got
Yeah.
Jalen Warren was your pick. I got him at 6.7. Did you
Yeah,
get
he
something
didn't do
different?
well.
Okay, and then Jordan Addison for Bill was 9.7.
Yeah.
So
Um I will say the one we missed on was Devon A. Chain, man. Holy shit.
yeah. Yeah, but he's just done so poorly for the first 2 weeks. Like I didn't expect him to just pop off, but they dropped 70 points on the
God.
Broncos. Got the backups in there. They're still just torching them. So yeah, he went off.
I mean, normally this doesn't work in fantasy football, but if you would have started Tua, Tyreek, and those two running backs from the Dolphins, like normally, you want to maybe you stack like a quarterback with a receiver, or you might have two guys from the same team. But usually, if you have like four guys from the same team, one team does not do enough to score a lot of fantasy points.
Yeah.
But if you had those four guys, I guarantee you beat everyone. That's like just those four guys probably got you close to 140 points in PPR leagues.
Yeah,
Something
they
demented.
feasted. 70 points, like the second highest all time of points in a game. So, and shout out the Dolphins for not kicking a field goal at the end to get the record. I don't know if it was set the record or tie the record, but it's a classy move out of Miami.
Respect.
Respect.
Uh,
Yeah, Mike McDaniel used to be the ball boy for the Broncos, so maybe he's just paying it forward, paying it
a
back.
kick in the nuts. Yeah, Sean Payton. They're looking like hot garbage. So good on
Yeah,
them.
not a great start for him so far. We got 0-3 Bears against the 0-3 Broncos this weekend, so
Since we're on
should
the
should be
Dolphins,
interesting.
yeah, that'll be an interesting one. Since we're on the Dolphins, I got a little clip um, from the Dolphins game.
And they didn't
This
even have
is
they dropped 70 points. They didn't even have Jalen Waddle.
I know they didn't have Jalen Waddle. It was just Tyreek Hill. That was their receiver, and they got some Bryson Scythe or what is
Braxton
it?
Berrios?
No, that's the wide
Oh,
receiver. What's that tight end?
Drew
Scythe or
Smythe?
Smythe?
Yeah, I think Drew Smythe. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like a dud.
Yeah. Sounds like a dud, but obviously it's working out.
Okay, all right. This is the Dolphins against this is a highlight from the game. They do like three fake runs, two different directions, and then they pitch it to Von A. Chain. I'll have Dave narrate this for the podcast listeners.
Okay. You got the Dolphins on the 46-yard line. You got Mostert coming into motion, gets to the left of Tua. And then you got a wide receiver
Barrios,
on the far right coming around Barrios. It's a fake handoff to Mostert and then an end around to Tyreek Hill, I believe. Oh,
Devon
no,
A.
that's a
Chain.
Chani. Yeah, he's cutting through. He's cutting through. Oh, missed tackle. Oh, this guy dives for him at the 10-yard line, pushes him out of bounds, almost scored again. But
I mean, just crazy
great
how
play
hard it
call.
is.
Yeah, a lot of movement. It's hard for that defense to pick up what's going on. 49 has no clue what's about to happen to him. Fake handoff there. They collapse on him. Reverse end around. The edges did not keep the edge. He just squirts around, missed tackles after missed tackles. Patrick Surtain shoved him out.
But just like there's so much misdirection. There's like three fakes in that one.
Yeah, he's a good Mike McDaniel's a good play caller, man. He picked up a
Absolutely.
lot when he was a ball boy for the Broncos, I guess. Smart guy, real smart guy.
And is he also out of that Shanahan tree with McVay, or is it the opposite way around? Is Shanahan under the McVay tree?
Shanahan, no, Shanahan and McVay are under. I mean, it just depends on what kind of like. I don't know if their head coach was even anyone significant, but they're all coaches for the Redskins at once. Like Shanahan was O coordinator, and Mike McDaniel was like quarterbacks coach or something. Sean McVay was
and then Matt LaFleur was the
Matt
other one.
LaFleur was in there. Yeah, they were
Yeah.
loaded.
Yeah, so that was yeah, those guys that were wherever they were together, they do seem to know how to run an offense. You got to tip your
Yeah.
hat.
Yeah, they were all in the Redskins, and the Redskins didn't get any of them as their head coach. So that's kind of disappointing for them.
I do have to say quick, I wish that the announcers on TV would use the word squirt when guys come through the line like you.
Squirt,
I would
yeah. I
laugh
mean,
my ass
sometimes
off.
sometimes it just describes really well what the motion of the ocean is doing.
Yeah. Yeah, do you want to quick unless you had anything, did you want to quick cover the Bears game?
I mean, no, I don't really want to talk about the Bears. I don't think you have to look it up on YouTube either. I think most people know what happened. It was a bloodbath. I think the
Well,
Bears are getting to the point where they're a lost cause, or people are wondering if they tank for a new quarterback and a top draft pick. I'm still just not ready to give up on Justin Fields. I mean, I think there's a lot of other variables that go into him not being successful yet, but I don't know.
I was going to ask you, it sounds like there's been some drama around one of the coordinators or something with child.
I don't know what the details are, but yeah, the defensive coordinator was having some problems besides the defensive scheme he was drawing up. He was having some personal issues, so
Like
he has
grotesque
resigned
problems,
and
like
stepped down. I don't
like
think it was
Jer-
child molestation, so you shouldn't put those vibes out there, but I think it was just inappropriate conduct is what they're calling it.
oh, it didn't have anything to do with children. That must have been some rumor I saw on Twitter then or something.
Yeah, no things with children, I don't think at least.
Okay, not Jared from Subway
Not Jared
style.
from Subway, not Wander Franco, no. So
Okay. Um, so the other thing I wanted to ask you, I talked to Max's dad on my way into work today, and I've kind of heard this from other Bears fans. Do you think that Justin Fields becomes like a Taysom Hill type player? Like it sounds like a lot of people are saying he can't make the reads. He's not making correct decisions, but he's so athletic. I mean, you can't allow him to not play football. So
yeah, I mean, I feel like he belongs in the NFL. He's just like been struggling, with Chicago so far. I think his record is like 5-22 as a starter or something. So like at some point, like you got to get some wins, even if your team sucks. So I don't know if the Bears are smart enough to try to use him like that. I don't know if he would allow that something like that to happen, but maybe that's better than being out of the league. So maybe they present him with that option. I think best case scenario for the Bears is at this point to see if he can improve. If he doesn't, then you keep him and draft someone else, and then you see if like he starts next season and keep the rookie like as the backup to try to develop instead of thrusting him into action. And then maybe it feels as a good first couple games, and then he becomes more valuable in the trade market. Like Justin Fields right now is not going to get you anything in the trade market is the problem. Like people want to trade him, people want to get rid of him now, people want to tank for a draft pick, but what's someone going to give you for Fields where he stands now? Like a fourth or fifth round pick. Like we spent the number 11 overall pick on him. So I feel like that's really dumb to get rid of him for like a fourth or fifth rounder. He's way more talented than that. He made the NFL top 100 players list this year.
that's crazy.
Yeah, he was like, so obviously that's voted on by your peers. So obviously like other NFL players respect him, but front offices like have lost all their lust probably for him, I would guess.
Yeah, it's crazy how far because before the season started, the hype around him was I would say overwhelming. And now 3 games in, everyone is like giving up. So I think it's somewhere in between. I mean, you do feel for the guy because he wasn't drafted into the best situation, right? They don't have a shit line. They didn't have any freaking receivers for him to throw to. Like they had no running game. So how is he supposed to succeed?
Yeah, you're
But
really not, you can't.
right.
So
But at
I
this,
just, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, at the same time, I've just listened to a lot of people that say, now he's got DJ Moore, and the past couple games they've watched, he watched the tape, he has open receivers, and he's not seeing them, or he's looking right at them, and he's not throwing it.
Yeah, but it's pretty easy to be like an armchair quarterback or Monday
Right.
morning quarterback and like sit there and watch the film and say you should have done this. Like, I don't know. I feel like at some point though, you just like I have a lot of excuses for him, but at some point the excuses have to stop, and he's just got to go out there and perform and try to win some games. Like he still shows these flashes of like good quarterback play. Like he hit DJ Moore in the hands on a perfect deep ball that DJ Moore dropped. Like, and then he had a nice deep ball to DJ Moore later in the game, and DJ Moore caught it with one arm. So it's like he's putting the ball out there sometimes, but he's getting pressured. Like he's having trouble making those reads, like you said, and finding the open receivers. And I've heard like some people say, like, and this is pretty subjective, but like he's waiting for his receivers to be like Ohio State open.
That doesn't
And
happen.
that's just never going to happen in the NFL. So like he needs to just find those smaller windows, and when there's, throw receivers open, throw it to like the zones, and do those kind of things that like Mahomes and Kelsey do.
I was listening and like to a fantasy football podcast, and his quarterback rating in the pocket this last game was like 1.9 or something. I mean, and you can score 100. Like it was abysmal. And I think through 12 games or something it was, he is in the pocket. His cute quarterback rating in the pocket is the worst in the league out of any quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me after the first 3 games that we've seen. So,
Yeah.
but just look how cool he looks. Like that's exactly how I would like design my player in Madden if I created like myself in Madden, Like he just looks so cool. I've gotten all my hopes up trying to root for him. Like I just thought that he was going to be the answer in Chicago, and it's just been like such a disappointing, series of events. So I just hope to God that he can turn it around.
Because I do think if they have an early pick, I think they're going to draft a quarterback.
I think you have to at this point because you're going to have to pay him next year. You're
This
not
is
going to
year
extend
4.
him. This is year 3. So
Is
you're going
it?
to have to pay him in 2 years, but like anyways, you're going to have to extend him soon. And I don't think he's like deserved an extension right now, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is year 3.
And then whoever they draft is probably going to be thrown into the same wood chipper.
Same shit offense, same terrible offensive
Yeah.
coordinator. Like they got to clean house, get rid of the head coach, get rid of the offensive coordinator. I'm okay keeping the GM for a little bit, see if he can put together a team. You got to give him some time. And most GMs like have the ability to get their own quarterback, and he didn't get Fields. So maybe he drafts a new quarterback, puts a better team around him. But as of right now, like I'm not impressed at all with our defensive minded coach. Like you'll see at the end of this highlight, hopefully we don't watch the whole highlight. I'm hoping we can end it soon, but they gave up 41 points. Like their defense sucks. And we have a defensive minded head coach, and he was calling the plays this weekend because we talked about Alan Williams, the defensive coordinator, being done for the year. So like that's a problem if you're defensive minded coach and your defense sucks. It is a lot similar to the Chargers, where they have Brandon Staley, who's a defensive minded guy, and their defense is their Achilles heel.
Yeah.
So it's like these guys have to do well. The defense needs to be the best part of your team. Otherwise, you don't deserve to be the head coach.
No, I agree. All right, we got 9 minutes left. Let's get in our locks of the week quick.
You don't want to
Take
talk
care of
about the
business.
Packers at all with whatever time we have left?
Yeah, we'll talk about let's get our locks and our fantasy studs in first. We'll
All
start
right.
with our Bill texted us his lock of the week.
Yeah, so Bill is choosing the Cowboys -6.5 versus the Patriots. He said that he feels confident that the Cowboys are going to bounce back and have a good week. They're going to play angry against the Patriots, and they're at home. So, I could see that happening, Bill. I could see a good week for the Cowboys after that abysmal loss to the Cardinals. So the fact that I can see it happening is not looking great for you, Bill. But
And they're -6.5.
yep, -6.5.
Okay.
My pick, or do you want to go?
No, you go. You go.
Okay, my pick is going to be the Bengals -2.5 at Tennessee. I don't really like Tennessee this year. I don't think they're very good. Usually their defense is pretty strong, but we saw the Browns, we're kind of scoring somewhat with ease when the Browns offense hasn't looked great all year. So I like the Bengals. I think that they're starting to groove. They have the skill players to win a lot of games, and I like Joe Burrow. So I think the Bengals, even though they're on the road, they can cover 2.5 points.
Like that. I'm gonna pick what appears to be a shitter, but they have both decent records. Derek Carr will not be playing for the Saints. They're going to be at home, and they're playing Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The defense is phenomenal, but I think that it could be close. The Saints could win by 3, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers end up covering.
What's the line?
It is +3.5. Buccaneers.
So you like the Bucks +3.5 on the road at New Orleans?
Correct. With Derek Carr out, because I don't think he's going to play. I think it's going to be a couple weeks. So you have Jameis Winston They do have
Jameis.
Jameis. They do have Alvin Kamara coming back.
Ooh, yeah.
So that
That's
could help.
exciting.
Very exciting, but he's going to be a little rusty. There's going to be a little rust to shake off. So I think the Buccaneers can keep it close.
Okay.
Keep it
Yeah, I
close.
like that pick. The Buccaneers have been pretty impressive this year. I mean, they lost the Eagles, but everybody's losing to the Eagles.
Yeah, I do want to warn fans out there. I was going to also pick the Bengals uh, to cover the 2.5 point on the road. So
Keep that in mind.
that's concerning. I don't know if I was putting money, I don't think I'd be taking that.
Yeah,
Very
keep that in
concerning.
mind if you're listening and putting in your picks.
Yes.
Okay, since I'm gonna rattle off Bill's pick for fantasy player, and then you get to go fantasy player first because I gave the lock first.
Okay, go.
So Bill's pick is going to be Chris Olave, a little bit outside of my preferred rules, but Chris Olave for the Saints. Interestingly enough, like John just said, Derek Carr probably out. He's going to have Jameis Winston, as he's known for, as the quarterback. So he's going to be slinging it. So I kind of like that pick a little bit. And Chris Olave is their number one guy. So big week predicted out of Chris Olave against the Buccaneers at home.
And then I get to go. I am gonna go with another rookie. This was overshadowed because they got blown out. But Marvin Mims, rookie wide receiver for the Broncos. They play the turd
Bears.
Bears.
Yeah.
Yes, I
The
like
Bears.
that.
Yeah.
He had a 99-yard kick return for a touchdown. He's a little speed demon. And a couple games ago, he had like two catches for 145 yards and a touchdown. So this guy gets open, and I think he can crank off a big one on the Bears.
Crank off a big one. You heard it here
Crank
first.
off a big one, boy, in Chicago.
My fantasy baller of the week is going to be Jakobi Meyers, wide receiver 2 for the Raiders. I like Devontae Adams as well, but I'm not going to use Devontae Adams per my rules, my own personal rules. Jakobi Meyers being the number 2 guy still had 12 targets last week. They play the Chargers, so I think the Chargers are going to put up a lot of points, and the Raiders will have to keep up. Jimmy G is a little banged up like he always is, but I don't care who's at quarterback for the Raiders. If it's Jimmy G, if it's Brian Hoyer, they're going to be slinging the ball. Devontae Adams is always going to be the focus of the quarterback as well as the defense. So I think Jakobi Meyers has a big week this week. A lot of targets, a lot of catches, a lot of points. Book it.
All right, Jakobi Meyers, I like that pick. Who do they play?
The Chargers.
Yeah, they'll be down, so they'll be slinging it a lot. Yeah, that's a good pick.
Look out for another fantasy pick for you guys, or a little prop bet guy. Joshua Palmer. You saw what the hell is that number
Mike
2
Williams.
receiver? Mike Williams go down with a torn ACL. That's devastating. I know how it is, Mike. I feel you, brother. Keenan Allen's still going to collect a lot of targets, but someone has to step up. So look for either Quentin Johnson or Joshua Palmer to step up. I like Quentin Johnson, but it seems like the Chargers like Joshua Palmer's experience better.
I'll take Quentin Johnston on that. I'd like to see him do well. Can I talk about the Packers game quick?
Yeah, go ahead and talk about the Packers.
All right. I want to preface it by saying the fourth quarter was the most exciting quarter of football I've ever watched live.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were at the game. Yeah. How was the experience?
So the first 3 quarters, we found these $15 24-ounce Vizzies, which is, you're like, oh, that's expensive, but it's really 2 Vizzies. So it's about $7.50 a piece, which at an NFL stadium is pretty reasonable. So the first 3 quarters, we had 48 ounces of Vizzy. We each had 2. And I'm glad we did. They gave us these little like terrible towels that they have like a poor man's terrible towel. So I was entertaining myself by spinning that around
washcloth, yeah,
for the first 3 quarters because they just looked abysmal. The Packers did. Saints weren't doing much on offense, but they had that punt return for a touchdown that hurt like a mother, and they scored 1 touchdown early on. So they were just like happy to drag the clock out. Derek Carr goes down. He's out. Jameis comes in. I said, oh, God, there might be hope. Fourth quarter starts. They go for it on 4th down instead of kicking the field goal. F it up. And so now they're down by, it's 17-0 with like 12 minutes left, and the Saints have the ball. Crazy shit happens. I don't know how it happened. They kick a field goal. They're down by 14. And then the second touchdown they score, they end up going for 2. And that puts them within 6 points. And then when they score that final touchdown, they end up winning. It's just a different energy. around there. We went to a couple of games last year with Rodgers, and even when they would win, people were happy, but there wasn't like everyone stayed at the game. No one left early, besides maybe a few people. And coming out, everyone was chanting "Go Pack, Go!" And it was just a wonderful sight. I mean, last year when we left the big gate, the gate that faces our apartment, there would be like no one. But this year it was just like crowds and crowds of people. So I just did want to share this. I got a Jaden Reed jersey, and I think he's my favorite player on there right now. He's the rookie wide receiver out of Michigan State. Had a couple bad drops, but they went back to him when they needed it. And sorry, he had a really nice diving catch on their last drive on 2nd and 10 to put him in the red zone. Even though he dropped like 2 touchdown catches, they kept going back to him and he kept coming through. So I don't know. It's just fun to watch. I think the Lions are going to be really tough. I don't know why the line is even. That seems a little suspicious to me.
Are you guys going to go to that Thursday night game?
No, we don't have. That's the Milwaukee season ticket holders. But we
Gotcha.
are having some people over, and so I just hope they can keep it close. But the Lions are scary because they played the Falcons literally the week after the Packers and shut them down, and we could not stop them. So I'm worried, but
Yeah, we'll see what happens in that game. I'm going to leave them off of my locks of the week. But I felt good about it. You know, the Packers have a good fan base, and I'm glad you guys had a fun time. When I saw them making a roaring comeback and end up getting the win, I thought about you guys and thought about how fun it probably was for you. So it seemed like the crowd was going nuts. It must have been a fun atmosphere.
it was. Dave, thanks for coming on tonight. We got about 20 seconds left.
Yep.
We'll be pulling for the Bears against the nasty ass Broncos because that would be a good upset.
Yeah, hope the Bears win. The Broncos just gave up 70 points, and the Broncos are favored on the road at Chicago. So that shows you how bad Chicago is. But thank you all for listening. This has been the Week 4 preview. So everyone have a great week. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Dave.